This is Lorie Lemley with eXp Realty. By now you have likely heard about the NAR settlement that was recently reached, and you really want to know, what does this have to do with me? How does this affect me when I go to sell my property? And that is a very good question. So let's break down just a couple of little tidbits about this settlement and how it affects you as the seller. Okay, so first off is that the commission is no longer required to be paid to the buyer's agent. This is something that the media is trying to convince people was always set, and that is not the case. It was negotiable, but how it affects today is that it is still going to be a negotiable thing. Just because it says you don't have to pay a buyer's agent, that doesn't mean that you can't give concessions to a buyer who maybe is in a lower income bracket and they can't afford the whole kit and caboodle for their agent. It's just no different than if you were, say, giving a concession for carpet or a roof or any of those other things that you would be, giving a concession for. Now, there are guidelines on each type of loan program that's out there on the max amount that you are allowed to provide in concessions. So which type of loan these people come to you with on their offers will of course have an effect on how much concessions you're able to provide. How this really affects agents is the second part of this settlement, which states that we are no longer going to be allowed to put on the MLS, we put the data so that buyers can go in and find houses that match what they're looking for, right? Okay, so what we're no longer going to be allowed to do is we're not going to be allowed to post on the MLS how much we will pay the other side. So even if you and I had negotiated selling your house and we agree upon an amount that you would be willing to provide to the other agent, we're not allowed to put that on the MLS, okay? So third is going to be more of a buyer situation. If a buyer wants to now look at a property, they want to place an offer, they're going to be required to have a buyer-broker agreement signed with their own agent. Now, this could lead to some buyers going straight to the listing agent to purchase a home rather than using their own buyer's agent. Now, how that will affect us, we still don't know, because we're in the time frame of waiting for OREC and other entities to bring out new contracts, to bring out new rules. Each state has their own rules. So we're still in the limbo of waiting to see how that's going to affect the listing agent. But here's my deal, guys. You're wondering, how does this affect me and the price that I pay to sell my house? And that's a great question, and brings me to my last point, which is when you work with me as your listing agent, I have a schedule of fees. I have a breakdown. I have a tiered system, which means you and I get to negotiate our terms and how much you want to pay me. And that's just all based upon the level of service that you want. If you're interested in selling your home and you want more information about my tiered payment schedule, then call me. My number is 405-309-9040. You can email me as well at Lorie, Lorie, at listingwithlorie.com, or you can get onto my calendar and we'll schedule a time that works best for you. I'll have a link to all of those in the video below.